Joyful Christian Hermit. Well, under having demonic attacks, spiritual warfare, spiritual combat, here's the little slate that I make little slates like that. And this one I'm going to hang here or put in here in the courtyard garden for the Virgin Mary, Regina Caeli et Terra, Queen of Heaven and Earth. This is the Queen of Heaven and Earth courtyard. But went to the neurosurgeon yesterday, had 2.5 hours sleep the night before because the arm was so bad. And, but there's nothing he can do. He mentioned a certain type of block, if I wanted to try that. I've had other blocks. He was very sad. Top neurosurgeon for three states. Actually 4. Wonderful man. And it was sad. I mean, it's hard. And then afterwards, so I decided I'm definitely taking the trees down. I've got to do something to keep going and to bring happiness and to enjoy the life I have. Mercy, come on over. And whatever the suffering, gardening I like, and I need to keep moving. He says, keep moving, keep doing your gardening, keep doing your renovating. And I get home. I got trees for the left side. A paper bark maple is going to go back there, and I'm going to move Angel Falls over there and put a silver fir back over where it's more moist. And they're coming June 5th. So Carol, one of our viewers, it's going to be your mom's birthday day that they're taking out the trees, and new things will go in. New births, new life will go in. This is the little area out here, and I might make it a little deeper because I'm thinking of putting some tile to keep the border. I don't want the grass coming up. I might keep it this wide if I work out some tile I have, earth tone, to keep the grass back. I'll set it up in there vertically, but just not above the grass, so obviously not sticking up, but to keep the grass back from growing in. And then these are the sedums I'll put in. Plus, I have the little conifers I'll put in, just maybe a couple. And then, so I got all this done, and I mixed manure in and used my earth mixer, little thing that I can twist in the ground and get the dirt mixed together. I'm going to cut this back a little more and put this sapphire nymph, Ceodora dedris, little juniper, that beautiful little turquoise blue, practically sea green, sea foam color. Sapphire nymph's going to go down in this corner, and it'll spread just flat with the ground, not very tall, and spread around on this corner. I'm going to take this across in it so it'll be easier to mow. Then I get home, bolstering up. We have to look to God always, look to God for joy and beauty. Keep going, keep the body going, keep the heart lifted, keep the spirits up. Be led by the Spirit in a sermon that I read by Pope Leo the Great this morning. 5th century, I think he is. And then in the mail yesterday, right after I get home, is this horrible, legal, threatening letter from the HOA men. It's not good. It's bad. It's ugly. It's nasty. I called the police. And I mean, they even want me to pay lawyer fees. It's ugly. And they list things that, like this. They said I have to have sod. Has to be sod in the yard. Well, my yard is, but other people have areas of stone or different things, not sod wall to wall. Their yards don't have sod every little bit. That neighbor over there has stone. The bulk of their yard is stone, gravel. So they're hassling me on that. That's one citation. And I'm not even done with this. But they're on, see, they just don't quit. They don't quit. And it's the devil, the devil. I draw the devil out of people if the devil's in them. Then, of course, this, which I'm putting stone on, but it was raining up through this morning. I have to mow then when I get back from physical therapy. Well, after actually I have to go and let the tile man in at my daughter's, so it'll be later. But then in back, he has me cited for having different colors of paint that aren't approved. They are approved. How am I going to find a paper that was 3 years ago and it just had their initials on it, whoever was in HOA then? The colors were approved, and they're not 4 colors. You don't work in groups of 4 in art. 1, 3, 5 is the general rule of design. So I did call the police to report the assault, the verbal assault, and the physical when he threw the dog poop bag at me. And it was the same young cop that I got last year who handles non-emergency stuff. And he didn't care. And he says, well, there's really nothing that they're doing wrong. And I said, you mean throwing a bag of poop at a 74-year-old disabled woman is an okay thing to do? Well, so he thinks I can't get a lawyer for this stuff. He wanted me to get a protective order. Well, I know he should know about. He's a policeman. He should know about protective orders. You have to have death threats in those and all kinds of other stuff, and they don't work anyway. I had a protective order all 5 years. Every time I would call for help, a different deputy would come. They wouldn't bother to look up the order, and they would come and they would leave, and until I would have the next bad thing happen from those neighbors. So I called the neurosurgeon. They're going to write a letter. Hopefully she's going to call me back, but she says she thinks that, they're just figuring out what to write. I said, you don't need to involve HOA stuff, just proof that I have this disability and arachnoiditis, and the stress is horrible. That's right, I didn't do a video yesterday. I was too upset again. So we'll see what happens. The nurse called this morning and said, hang in. We'll talking to the neurosurgeon, figuring out how we can state this, because you don't need this. And I said, no, I don't need more. Then I thought, well, yeah, the devil is stirred. And I checked online, and sure enough, that lady who has been nasty for years, at it again with supposedly some reader of her blog, watches my videos and was doing the typical stuff and complaining about my videos and how I cross the boundaries of privacy and it's wrong and whatever. But the reason that this lady hasn't been attacking me lately, she writes in her blog, is because I don't identify as a Catholic hermit anymore. No, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. And I am sharing my life, the details of it. And no, it was not a family fight. It was 2 adult children cutting off. So I would say calling it a fight was a little bit, I don't know. It wasn't in terms of fighting over anything. But then I've had people with their comments. I don't know why this person who watches my videos and then writes to this lady to try to rile up and to get this lady to weigh in. Sort of like she's the HOA person, the Queen Hermit. So the Queen Hermit then determines if I'm good or bad or whatever, and writes about it. So, but I don't care if I'm Catholic or not, doesn't matter. I'm Christian. So, I'm Catholic though. I could change my name back. I still have my Catholic title on my blog. And I don't care what she says anymore. It's just, I find it very phony and maybe fraud, a little bit strange that this other person is writing to her to, I guess, criticize me through this lady who then pontificates about me and doesn't say my name or give my location, but this other person pretty much did. So I don't know if it's really anyone writing to this woman who watches my blogs or if it's this lady who's making it up. It's just so juvenile. At the same time yesterday when I was working out there, the lady over there, the one that the police say she's not to speak to me or her husband either because of the sexual harassment 2 years ago, she starts talking. She does. She'll talk as if I'm... And then she made a threat if I wouldn't take her water bottle. And that's all this time I'm just working quietly. I have my big thermos of vegetable water to drink. And she's standing over there just talking and talking at me, telling me I need to take her water bottle and have it. But I'd been out there a long time. She'd been watching me the whole time from her front window. She's watching me working. And probably her husband watching my rear end again. Loving how it goes up and down, he said, waving his eyebrows up and down, like he was having sex with me. That's one of the things that got him in trouble. The other thing was exposing himself. So, good grief. People. So, no, I didn't speak because the detective said do not speak to them. So that's the situation with that. She just kept talking and I remained silent. And then she made some threat. I couldn't hear what she was saying, that if I did not take the water bottle. And by that time I thought, I don't care what you do. I'm not talking to you. I'm not taking a water bottle. I don't need a water bottle. I had my own big thermos that I was drinking from. So, spiritual combat. Meanwhile, I get a... Mercy, let me have your leash. You're taking your leash off of you. In the meanwhile, I get this email from Father Vincent, and he needs prayers for his sister. Sister Vero needs prayer. She has double pneumonia. She's very ill. I'll find out more later. Please pray for her. Pray for the lady hermit who can't resist criticizing me. Pray for the HOA men. Pray for them. I'm going to close the door. Mercy's getting a little loud for me. Pray for unity and peace. Pray for this next door neighbor over there, and especially her husband, who thinks it's funny at age, what would he be now, 73, and knows better. He was a lawyer, but he, from what I see online, never had his own office or never worked for an office. I think he worked for the court system, maybe, if he worked. He likes music, rock music, punk rock, so I think he does that mostly, and listens to it in his house. He rarely comes out. And he knows not to speak. He knows what he did. So, and I told her, in 3 years and 2 years, 2.5 years, I told her I'm not going to talk about it. It's not you, it's your husband, but there's to be no communication, no interaction, no talking. And she can't quite get that, but I've stopped repeating the 3 lines the detective told me to say. So regarding the other situation, I might talk to the supervisor of the young policeman to help him understand that, yes, anytime you throw anything at a person, when you're not playing a sport that the 2 people are agreeing on, throwing a ball back and forth or having a ball thrown, you don't throw a bag of poop at someone. That is a criminal assault. It's called a criminal assault. If he'd had the bag of poop thrown at him, he would have arrested the man. So I don't know, but I think for now I'll just got to keep working, turning to the Lord, extra much praying. I found this sermon by Saint Leo, Pope Leo the Great, 5th century. Be led by the Spirit, and it spoke of this very same thing. Why can't people have peace among one another? And with me, I think it's the same thing. They sense something in me. I thought back even there was a youth minister when I was a senior in high school that summer. He said ugly things about me. And my best friend's mother was a secretary. She was very upset with what he was saying about me. And it was bizarre. Teachers love me, people love me. It was my hometown. I was a good student, and I don't know, I was a churchgoer, and it was a bizarre thing. But he got a distaste of me. So, it was strange. That was the first time. And after that, women especially tend to be threatened by me, or insecure, or dislike my spiritual life, or in this case, hope this works. Nope, my battery's dead. My memory is getting to be bad. I'll see if my neighbor's home to jump it. I don't think he is. I'll have to call and cancel my PT. Do that. The neurosurgeon says it's the brain. The brain has altered and sending out signals that cause organs like my gut attacks and things. And right there, I'd gone out last night to turn the truck off, roll the windows up because it started to rain, and I left the keys in and turned slightly on, so that has deadened the battery. So I won't be able to let the man in either for the tile this afternoon. And all this stress has had me just off. And then worrying about Father Vincent. He was nearly killed on Thursday. It's a miracle he wasn't killed. So lots going on. We just got to pray. I'm going to pull out all the stops of prayer for these HOA people, for the cop, the young policeman, and I'm sure they're not home. His truck isn't here. And just try to get what rest I can. Keep doing my work. And see, now there, that neighbor has her trash cans out visible to the street. She never gets cited. That's definitely in the CCRs. I have my ladders on the side of my house, and that's where they have to stay until I'm done painting the house. But which is going to take time. That's the thing they don't understand. One of that Bob Lupo just hired somebody to redo his concrete drive. And he had emphatically told me he does all his work. He never pays for it. Because at one point they were on me because I didn't hire people to do everything. They're very bothered that a woman, an old woman too, would know how to do things and tries to do them herself. And I said, I don't have the money to be hiring And when I do hire, I get ripped off by people who don't know what they're doing, or do know but overcharge or do something wrong. So I said, no, I don't. And I need to. I said, my neurosurgeon wants me to be doing it because it forces me to get out of bed and to work hard. So that's what I'll be doing this afternoon, and praying. And I'm going to have to select prayer trees for Bob and Mike and their wives. I'll do them, I think, as a couple. Each couple will have a prayer tree. Last year, I sent them a lovely note with a scripture card in it that was beautiful about getting, it was, the whole effect was love one another type thing. And I had bought a set of them. They have them places, stationary areas of stores, printed in different pretty colors, just scriptures with the citation of friendship and love and peacefulness and nothing controversial. And I put that in with it and wrote this note of appreciation that they do their volunteer work, but that to please understand. It wrote out, I have arachnoiditis. I can't do as fast, and I've had 5 surgeries since I've been here, and it takes time. But I enjoy what I'm doing, and these are things I can do, and gardening is what brings me joy, obviously. And now they're trying to involve in that, and there's pressure and trying to threaten with these legal notices. And it's too much for me. I was so upset yesterday, and now I've got a dead battery, which is my fault, but I'm under too much stress. And I'd only had 2.5 hours of sleep the night before from pain in my arm. And I had to drive in to the neurosurgeons. But this is green feathers. This is a cypress right here. Full sun. It won't get too big. It's actually deciduous. And then this is the paper bark maple. See the growth on that. It grows like 1.5 feet. Maybe it'll grow a little more with my special fertilizer. That's going to go in place of the big tree on the left, and then it has exfoliating bark. It'll get deep red the older it gets, and it peels. It literally will peel and rolls, even like paper, and it'll be red and beautiful. And these little leaves are darker, but they'll get pretty in the fall, pretty colors. But I decided that would throw some shade, and then I'll move Angel Falls conifer over there, and that's narrow, upright, but a bluish green, long needles, soft long needles, and like full sun, and not as much water it was getting in the other locations. So I've got that tree area all taken care of. I got a Zydeco twist. I had one of these back in the Midwest and moved it to the island. It's out in the center of the yard in a planting area, and it's awesome. It'll do all kinds of funky twisting all around. Beautiful. The leaves are like bay leaves and shiny and waxy. The new growth is shiny and waxy, bright, sort of not an emerald green, but just a lovely green. Leaf green. So this is life, and this is what happens, a demonic assault. I was very, very out of sorts yesterday. I was depressed. I got very, very, very depressed and very fatalistic. I got very, very angry then. I had surges of, why, God, why? And then this morning I saw that sermon by Pope Leo from the 5th century, and it was like God just put it there for me. Like, I need you to read this. Plus, he gave me better sleep last night, so praise God. But I thought, I'm going to look to see what this lady has written. And because I said, this will be proof that the devil is involved if she's back on criticizing me. Sure enough, she can't help it. And whoever it is, or I think it might be the person herself or one of her friends. And they set up these questions then to and they're bothered that I do videos when I'm going places around and identified where, and not fully, but enough. Just silly little girls, tricky women, little tricky women. That's what I call them. Mean girls. Mean girls were junior high mean girls is what we called when we were in junior high. But now they're tricky women. A friend of mine says she calls them blue-haired ladies, the blue hairs. But I don't. Women don't tend to dye their hair blue-gray anymore. But mean girls or tricky women suffices, and I'll pray for them. I have her prayer plant in the back. So the one, and I suppose her alter ego, whoever it is, who's in cahoots with her. It's a clever way of journalism. She used to do sort of a Dear Abby kind of a thing, where people would write in about me. I'm glad she's fascinated, but she isn't. I think she's keeping her cool. She's actually done much better. I commend her. She's done much better trying to do her own writing and her own thinking rather than just fixating on me. So as bad as I am and fun as I am to criticize, I'm used to it. So that didn't get to me. It's just proof to me that the devil was really, really riled, because that's a signal when she is also. Because there's somebody who's very influenced, very influenced. So we have to deal with these things, and the best thing is more love, more prayer, clinging to God. I think I mentioned this lady who kept trying to get me to take her water bottle. Then, yeah, I said that already. God bless you all. Praying for them. It's amazing. I have these, all my yard is protected by St. Benedict medals and blessed salt and holy water and special prayers that are supposed to be protection, but the devil can try anyway and does, and we just have to try harder. That's all. I'm getting a St. Michael, the Archangel. It's going to be here by Monday. Not a statue, but it's like a bas-relief, but it's garden art. And I'll put that down. I'll lean that up. Maybe lean it up on this side of the rocks here to protect my yard and my home and this area, because it's not going to be sod. It's going to be sedums and a couple of little conifers, maybe three or five. God bless you all. Much love, much love. Thanks for your prayers, and do pray for Father Vincent's sister, Vera, who is a religious sister also. She also has pancreatitis, which is handled by medication, but often she can't get the medication. It's very difficult being in Nigeria. So that's terrible, isn't it? And thank God he's alive. He wasn't killed. He and five other priests, they were going somewhere, and a big huge truck lost its brakes and just, it took off. It was behind him, and then took off his side view mirror, going around, trying to avoid squishing them. They were going to be up against like a hill, and this truck was going to just squash the car. And instead, the truck got around and then hit the hill. I don't know how that driver is. Pray for this man in Nigeria. But they often, and he's told me that just last week, several Jesuits were killed from a truck that brakes had failed, big truck, and crushed it. So they drive without having to have quality checks on their trucks. And just incredible to think. But from what I know of dying and heaven, those Jesuits are loving it. So, blessed day. God bless you all, and God bless my hermit friend. And no, I won't, I prefer calling myself a Christian hermit. And yes, it's a risk. You know, it seems I'm just very open And this is my journal of my life and my spiritual journey. And that includes what happens with my family. But no, we weren't fighting. But the person who was writing that is just not of a different background than I am. I don't view people breaking apart or misunderstanding one another as a family fight. I view fights as something a little more visceral and not just a simple breaking away, painful as it is.